My name is Brian J, and my full last name is Juchems, but people look at it, if they've never heard it pronounced before, they always slaughter it, so I just go by Brian J. And it's good to be here. I'm glad that it's snowed less as I got farther north, because I left Madison this morning and it was snowing hard. So, but anyway, so I work with an organization called the Gay Straight Alliance for Safe Schools, which is a nonprofit organization that works with, we do a lot of student leadership development with middle and high school students who are involved in like school clubs, or who just want to make their schools safer for gay, lesbian, bisexual, and transgender students, as well as just all students. And we do that through conferences and camps and stuff like that, as well as consulting. We do a lot of training of educators, so I get to be the person that travels around the state in my Hyundai Elantra, although I rented a car today. So just because I didn't trust my, I was fearing that we'd have ice. So, but anyway, so I do a lot of trainings, and we actually work with the Department of Public Instruction. It's like we're their go-to people when people, school districts or CISAs or other education organizations ask for trainings on this. And then I also do trainings. I don't do as many trainings with community, people who aren't always school-related, so youth service providers or community agencies or mentors. So you're a slightly different audience that I usually work with, which is exciting for me. But you might ask a question, I'm like, oh, I've never had that question asked before, and I might be like, I'll have to get back to you. Or else I might say something that's totally dumb, and you're like, whoa, that's way off base, or that's not what I was asking, or that's not related to, that's totally not going to be helpful. Feel free to tell me that and be like, Brian, that was a bunch of bunk. Oh, nobody's laughing, so, okay, so, all right. Well, okay, some people laugh, so I'll try to be funnier in a little bit. So, but anyway, I'm really excited to be here. I had a fun time with a great group of students just now. There's some really fantastic young people in your communities who need you to be awesome supports to them. So, and I know that you're raring, willing, and probably already doing it. So hopefully I'm going to be able to answer some questions for you tonight, give you some information, give you some tools, and do some discussion. So I should say my background is I grew up in rural Iowa, a small town called Steamboat Rock, population 300. Kind of like smack dab in the center of Iowa. So I had 28 people in my high school class, 6 from my hometown. So it's like, so when I come here, I'm like, ooh, this is bigger than my hometown. So I went to college. I did my undergrad at Luther College in Decorah, Iowa. So I hung out with a bunch of Lutherans. So anybody here Lutheran by any chance? So I thought as much. So all right. And then I moved to Wisconsin back in '98 because I knew there was good stuff happening in Wisconsin around supporting and advocating for gay, lesbian, bisexual, and transgender youth. And so I moved here without a job. My parents thought I was like crazy. So I worked awful jobs, then volunteered, and eventually my organization decided to hire me back in 2002, and I've been doing work since then. So. Any major burning questions about me up until this point? So my favorite colors are orange and brown. I do play hockey, but I have to confess I've only played it for 4 years. So I'm still a really bad hockey player, in case anybody's really good here. And let's see. Cool.
Question.
So I want to start out with, yes, question.
You said your undergrad work. Did you go to graduate school?
I did not. So okay. Partially because I still can't figure out what exactly I want to do as far as grad work. And then also, I love the work that I'm doing, and I keep, every day is fun and challenging, and I constantly feel like I'm learning. So, so I'm like, I have no time for grad school. I need to keep doing this work. So that's not to put down grad school. So if anybody's got a graduate or a doctorate, I love you. So any people with grad degrees or doctorates here? So punch it. So, awesome, good. All right, so cool. So anyway, I want to start out with activity, and it's a little bit different than what I did with the students. But in a moment, but not yet, I'm going to ask you to stand up and find a partner. Not your partner for life, probably just for the next 2 minutes. So, but if there's somebody here that you have a crush on, this might be your chance to talk to them. So, I'm just saying is all I'm saying. So. By the way, I like to be kind of goofy and stuff like that. So if people can't stand goofy, you might not like me. So if you don't like goofy, I'll try to be serious occasionally. So all right, but I'm going to ask you to respond to a question, and so each person will get just a minute to respond. Then I'm going to go on. I'm going to ask you to thank your partner, so you thank your partner, and then I'm going to ask you to find somebody new. We're going to do that 4 times. So, and I'm really excited because I actually held up 4 fingers and said 4, because oftentimes I'll say I'm going to do that 4 times. And so my mouth and my fingers don't always match up. So anyway, so the first question, before you get up and find somebody, the first thing that I want you to talk about is, talk about when you first realized or were aware of the fact that some people are gay, lesbian, bisexual, or transgender. So talk about the first time you realized that some people are lesbian, gay, bisexual, or transgender. Moment, but not yet. Find a new partner, and I want people to move around and talk to people that they might not usually talk to. And then what I want you to talk about is talk about your first crush. So talk about your first crush.
I don't know. He's one of my brother's friends who was always around, so. Yeah, well, when I got my brothers.
I used to be with Kinship here, but now I'm with Kinship in Geneva.
So I want you to pause. I want you to pause, and the last person was, if somebody's still talking, I want you to talk about that person without using gender pronouns. Don't say he, she, him, her. I want you to talk about that person without, even though I know that you just revealed the identity, probably revealed the gender of that person, I want you to finish what you were saying. And if you're already done, I want somebody to go ahead and try to talk about that person without using gender pronouns. And if you know a different language, don't cheat and use like, and don't use that person's name. So.
Your first crush, but don't use she or hers or any other names.
Yeah. Huh? We all live together in the same town. So.
I want to say, think about some of your youth who have to have those conversations without revealing who, because there might be some risk revealed in talking about who they're really attracted to. So, but that's me getting ahead of myself. So, I want you to thank your partner or partners, because apparently some of you do a good job at doing threesomes or something like that. So thank your partner. Find somebody else new. So, find a new partner. So, oh wait. So sorry, I'll give you your task first. So the thing to talk about this time is talk about a time, maybe the first time when you heard somebody say something negative about gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender people. Talk about one of the first times you heard somebody say something negative about gay, lesbian, bisexual, and transgender people. Alright, so go ahead and thank your partners. And then the last thing I want you to talk about, this is a moment of truth for people. So I want you to talk about a time where you said something negative or expressed negative attitudes towards gay, lesbian, or bisexual, transgender people. So whether it's a stereotype or does that make sense? So talk about a time where you said or participated in negative comment or negative behavior towards or by. So I'm leaving it open. So it's like it could be something that you said or did. Like some people just, things that you observed or some of the things that you talked about during these 4 questions that I had you. And of course, you can only share what you talked about. You can't share what your partner talked about unless they said you go and encourage you to talk about what they talked about. But any things that kind of struck you or some of the things that you talked about? Or any comments or thoughts? Yeah.
For me, it was, you asked very specific questions, and it was hard for me to think of a very specific time for each of those.
Sure.
You know, I think that we just don't think about it when it happens, and then to go back and try to analyze that was difficult for me.
All right. Did you kind of just fudge and just try to think of a time?
Yeah, I just thought of a time that I can remember.
Sure. Awesome. Cool. Other thoughts or things that people talked about? Yes. And what's your name back here? Sue. Sue, that's right. So, Sue, I like you already. I'm just saying. So.
I'll give you a quarter later. It was difficult when you asked to leave out gender.
Yeah.
Oh, that was really hard.
Difficult to form your opinion and form your thoughts on that.
Yep. You had to spend some energy doing that, right?
I really did.
Yeah. So cool. Other thoughts or comments, things that people talked about. So, all right. Am I gonna have to point and ask people? So, hey, I like that. She's like, oh, I feel guilty. I'm gonna raise my hand. So,
Well, I shared this. I guess I really didn't pay too much attention to it until I invited a lady to my home that was new in town and needed to get acquainted. And however, I didn't realize that she was gay. And she asked me about being in a relationship with her. And while it threw me off course, I mean, I was very proud of myself because I said, I can't really judge the choices you're making, but that's not the choice I'm making.
Okay, good. And then you should have said, but I'm flattered that you find me attractive. I feel complimented, so. But yeah, so it's like you tried to figure out how to respond in a way that was respectful and supportive.
Yeah, without being negative, because I don't feel I have the right to judge anybody.
Yep. Cool. Awesome. Other thoughts or comments or things that people shared? Or hated about this activity? Yeah.
George. Well, I think the striking thing for me is these are questions that I've never been asked to discuss.
Nice. What was it like to have to try to talk about them?
Difficult. Well, it was different.
Yeah. Oh, good. I'm succeeding. So, excellent. So.
It made me realize how naive and sheltered I was as a child.
Oh, as a child? So, sure. Yeah, well, and I would say I grew up, I mean, I was a person in my elementary, middle, and high school. We called it junior high. Like, now that I live in Wisconsin, I say middle school, but I went to junior high. I was a person that was that called fag and queer and stuff like that all through elementary, middle, and high school. But I was also the one out on the playground playing Smear the Queer at recess and stuff like that. So, which, if you don't know that game, that's like somebody's who's queer and that you get chased after and get piled up on or something like that. At least that's how we played it. So I'm like, oh, so it's like those little subtle things or not so subtle things that you don't even think about and you forget about, but those little pieces about how like some negative things about gay, lesbian, bisexual, and transgender people get kind of infused in our culture. So, cool. Any last thoughts before I move on? Before we get any further, are there any like big, burning, urgent questions that people really hope to get answered tonight? Because obviously you're here, and unless somebody drug you here, and if you did get drugged here, awesome, thanks for not resisting. But are there questions that you have? And I should also say, I work with gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender people in the community all the time, and sometimes my language is behind. So one of the things I want to let you know is, like, if you're not familiar talking about these issues, use the language that you know, because I'm going to love you and support you and want you to get your questions answered, and I want you to share your experiences. And so, like, if you're worried that, oh, if I say this wrong, Brian's going to jump on me, I won't. So. Alva might, but she's weak. So, does anybody have any questions or reasons that you came out tonight and wanted information in particular? Are you a quiet northern audience? So you're nodding back there. So all right.
No,
I
have cookie in my mouth.
Oh, you're either from the north or you've got cookie in your mouth. So
No, I wanted to say that I came because I think it's a great topic, and because I'm in Kinship and also a foster parent, I thought it would be very helpful for me in interacting with the teenage girls that I'm with.
Yep. So learn how to. Is it like learn how to better support? Mm-hmm. Learn how to better support youth. All right. Great. What else? I can't see, so if somebody has a thought, shout it out. So. Monica, why are you here? What do you want to get answered? So.
I just thought because I'm in Kinship, it was a good thing to know.
So, good thing to know. So, excellent. So, wait, in green back there. Who are you?
Me?
Yeah.
I'm Paul.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. So, you're already.
I'm here because my
not by the TV.
So, I got confused. So, excellent. So, cool. All right. Well, I'm hearing that people are open to whatever I'm gonna throw at them. So, I'm just gonna do that.